If your vehicle came from the factory with 4x6 sealed beam headlight housings, you probably already know that upgrading to an LED type housing is a great way to increase style, safety, and performance of your headlights. Some common 4x6 sealed beam headlight part numbers are 1A1 and 2A1, 4656 and 5001. If your original sealed beam headlights match any of those part numbers, something on the table in front of me would be a great direct replacement. As you can see, there's a lot of different options you can choose from, and it's hard for you to know which one's the best for your project. So we went and picked the most popular, best 4x6 LED headlights on the market today, and we will compare them in this video series with beam pattern, advertised lumen rating, and maximum lux using this digital light meter. This is the United Pacific 4x6 high power LED crystal headlight. These are a perfect replacement for any 4x6 sealed beam where you have separate low beam and high beam. They are single beam, they are available in black or chrome, and they each feature 6 LED accent lights that you can control however you want. These are a really interesting piece because it's the only LED headlight on the market that we found with these type of 6 LED accent lights and real glass lenses and DOT approved, and the list goes on. It's a really special product and anybody would be happy to have these on their vehicle. If you like this style, check out the link in the description below the video for pricing and more details. The way these headlights work is there's a single LED array on a circuit board inside the top of the headlight, and it shines down into a reflector bowl. And the reflector bowl, as you can see, they don't look very different. These two are low beam, these two are high beam, but at a glance they all pretty much look the same. Let me explain how to tell them apart. Number one, the low beam has an L printed on the lens, and there's a slight dip in the center reflector. That dip will change the way the beam pattern looks when it's turned on. Also, you can notice the bottom radius of the reflector is different from high beam and low beam. The last way to tell the difference between the high beam and low beam is looking at the connectors. The high beam only has 2 wires, the low beam has 3. Now when you examine the front of the light, you see on the top it says top embossed in the lens. In the center there's an aiming position, and on the bottom of the light printed it says DOT and SAE, which indicates it's legal to use on city streets and highways. It says HL P13VOR, which means it's visually, optically right, a designation of the shape of the beam pattern. It says L and NS-2240L. The L determines that it's the manufacturer's part number for low beam, and the high beam has the exact same information, but an H at the end. If you look here, you can see 3 LEDs on each side of the headlight housing, and those are controlled independently from the headlight housing, and you get to choose how they work. You can hook them up to a switch on your dash, you can hook them up to your parking lights or ignition or any other function. You decide how you want them to work and you hook them up. It's really simple. Off the back of the headlight you have a red and a black wire. Red goes to positive, black goes to ground, and that's how you turn on your LED DRL portion of this light. I've got my power supply that I'll hook up, and you can see exactly how they work. Very bright, very classy. So it's a really unique style. If you like this headlight is pretty much the only one that you're going to find with that type of an LED accent. If we turn the headlights around, you can see that they look pretty similar, even though this is the high beam and this is the low beam. They both have your 2 wires coming off the back for the LED accent lighting, and they both use an H4 type connector that's a direct plug and play install for your factory headlight wiring. The only difference is the high beam only has the 2 wires to trigger high beam, but the low beam has the 2 wires for low beam and a 3rd wire to keep the low beam on with high beam. Inside this white rubber boot, there's a diode that connects the low beam to the high beam. So when you turn the high beam on, it still energizes your low beam circuit. This is really useful if you have a 4 headlight system like on a semi truck or a classic car, so that you don't lose your low beams when you switch to high beam. Make sure whichever LED 4x6 headlights you get either have this built into the wiring or built into the headlight. Next, we're going to compare beam patterns lumens per headlight, and maximum lux at 25 feet. The way we're going to do that, we're going to set each headlight up 25 feet away from this wall, and then we're going to use our digital lux meter to measure the lux at a certain point. So what's the difference between lumen and lux? Why do you never hear about lux? Honestly, to get the whole picture, you need to compare the three things. The shape of the beam pattern, is it a good beam pattern? The lumen of the LED, is it creating a lot of light? And lastly, how do those two things work together to create a good amount of usable light in front of your vehicle? That's why we measure lux. Now keep in mind, this is semi-scientific. We're using this to measure every single point of the beam pattern, and we're just going to tell you the one point in the whole beam pattern that was the brightest. That's going to be our benchmark for every single headlight. So to get a good feel for what's important, watch all of our videos on all of the 4x6 LED headlight options and compare them yourself. If your vehicle comes with sealed beam headlights, this is what they look like. It's not a very wide beam pattern, it doesn't have a sharp cutoff line, and the light color is this dingy yellow. Now this is low beam, and we measured it at only 650 lux at 25 feet. And here's high beam. You notice it doesn't get any brighter. We measured it again at 650 lux at 25 feet, and the beam pattern just shifts up a little bit. These United Pacific headlights use real glass lens. They're DOT approved, made in Taiwan with a 3-year warranty, and they're available in black or chrome housings. The low beam version advertises a raw lumen output of 550 lumens per light. An effective lumen output is unspecified by the manufacturer. We measured maximum lux at 25 feet to be 780 lux, and this headlight draws 0.6 amps of power at 12 volts DC. The high beam version has a raw lumen output of 620 lumens per headlight, and we measured its lux at 25 feet to be 2,200. And this headlight draws 0.6 amps of power at 12 volts DC. Remember, there's more to picking out your headlight than just the lumen rating. Watch all of our videos for comparisons on beam pattern, lumen, and lux by subscribing to our channel so you don't miss a single 4x6 LED headlight review. You can also find us on Facebook, Google+, and Instagram. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.